Welcome to my perfumer's garden. 5 aromatic plants grown on my tiny New York City balcony with one goal in mind, which is to make a fragrance made completely out of what I grow on this balcony. I'll tell you right now, it was not easy getting here. It's dead. Not even sure where to go. I swear everything is just begonias. The people that worked at the stores had no idea really much about plants at all. But here we are now. Let's get started. We are currently on a mission to find the perfect flowers for our perfumery balcony garden. Right now, I'm off to a flower shop that is in my neighborhood to see if they have anything good for us. Now, there are a couple considerations that we need to keep in mind while we're choosing our flowers. One is, so I have a northwest facing balcony. So I need to make sure I have some options that don't require full sun all day, or at least can tolerate some shade. A lot of this is all very new to me still, so hopefully I can talk to somebody that has some expertise that can point me in the right direction. Hopefully I'm not too overwhelmed, but let's see what this store has. And if this store doesn't have it, we'll go on to the next one. Hopefully this isn't an all-day search. We'll see. Our first stop on the journey is a local plant shop that I walk by all the time. It was a promising start with a lot of flowers outside, but unfortunately once we got inside, I noticed it's just house plants, which makes a lot of sense because not many New Yorkers have space to grow flowers. Now I walked a couple blocks down the street and came upon these plants sitting on a table outside of a florist. You see they had lemon verbena, they had some peppermint, lavender, basil. I had to get the lemon verbena. It smelled just beautiful and the woman was so helpful. All right, so 2 down, we're off to a good start. So we had some success at our first outing. We were able to find lemon verbena and we were able to find lavender, but I wanted 4 different crops. So I'm actually gonna go to a big box store right now and see what they got. They have a big garden center, so hopefully that gives me a lot more options. As I said, I need something that's gonna smell amazing, and I know that I'll find something that is good, but I wanna find something that's great. At the big box store, I did see many beautiful offerings and there was a wide selection. However, I saw that quality was truly lacking in some of these. Some of the flowers I saw were even dead. So one of the plants that I'm highly interested in finding on this trip is the pelargonium, or the geranium as it's commonly known. There are many different types. I'm looking for a rose scented geranium. So I see these geranium here that I was just smelling, and I'm getting a generic floral scent from it, but I'm not sure if this is the one that I'm really looking for. The one that I'm looking for is the one that is well known in perfumery. We have some other options here. I'm gonna keep looking through. Hopefully I'm lucky and I find some good geranium. But I'm feeling much better about this selection that we have here. There's just so many more options. Unfortunately, that optimism did not last long as I continued to look through the store. So this box store, I swear everything is just begonias. A sea of begonias. And so I'm here trying to find any fragrant plants that they might have, and I'm buried in begonias. And I'm not in just the begonias section, I promise. Okay, just when I thought I should give up, I actually found a wonderful option right here. So the plant that I'm smelling right here is dianthus. I was able to walk out with a dianthus, which I'm actually really excited about. But the quest continues. A little bit disappointed. Big box store, lots of options, not a lot of scented plants. Finally was able to track down one of the people that worked in the plant nursery section, and he was like, listen, sorry, we just don't have that many scented options at this time of the year. I know it's on me for starting this project in July, but I still thought they'd have a few more options than they had. Not even sure where to go. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I was bummed out that both of the places that I went to, the people that worked at the stores had no idea really much about plants at all. I knew that doing this in New York City wouldn't be the easiest, and I do know that with a little bit more research, I'm sure I can find a place of great expertise to help me in this endeavor. But in this case, I just got to go home and get on the old Google and try to figure out how to take care of these plants all on my own. So luckily, you guys are here with me for that journey. I just expected a little bit more expertise, if I'm being honest. But hey, what are you going to do? One of the employees that I spoke to said that in New Hampshire he found some wonderful scented plants, and I just happened to be going there anyway. So I stopped by a plant nursery. I encountered some wonderful geranium. This is the citronella geranium, but I also came across heliotrope, a plant I didn't even know I needed. Now, with my plants in tow, I am ready to start planting this balcony garden. Let's go over what we got. Oh, and one more thing before I get into these. I thought this one would be impossible to find, so basically I stopped looking. But as I got back from my trip, I went on a run, and as I was running through my neighborhood, I stopped at the local plant store, and out of nowhere, I finally found it. The jasmine plant. Look what I found. I finally got the jasmine, which I didn't expect to find anywhere in this neighborhood, actually. So I'm very excited. My collection is now complete. I mean, this was at the local plant store that I didn't even give a chance. So after all that traveling, I found what I was looking for basically in my backyard. It's just funny how that works out, isn't it? All right, let's start with the one that everybody knows, lavender. The smell is floral, it's a little herbal, and it's almost soapy at times. And most people smell lavender and think candle or think laundry detergent, and that's not wrong. It's because lavender is used everywhere. It is the backbone of an entire category of perfumes known as the fougères, and it gives that classic barbershop scent that so many people are used to. Lavender is found in about 50% or more of all fragrances, and people don't even know. So I had to have lavender in my Perfumery garden collection just because I needed something that was universally used and plays well with other materials. Next, we have lemon verbena. This one's bright, it's green, and it's almost like lemon and tea had a baby. And this is where it gets interesting. So, from a craft perspective, this is one of the hardest florals to actually get the scent from the plant into the bottle. You extract it, and a lot of that brightness, it just disappears. So, what you smell right now on the actual leaf, it's pretty difficult to get it into the final form of the bottle, but I am going to try. That's what this experiment is all about. I really want to see what I learn about these plants as I use them in perfumery. And lemon verbena is definitely going to be a challenge, but we're going to see how close we can get to the actual scent of the plant. This one is dianthus, and I guarantee you smelled this note before, you just didn't know what you were smelling. Dianthus is spicy, it's a little clove-like, and it's almost sweet underneath. It's in the carnation family, and it shows up constantly in classic perfumery. And I really wanted to use this plant because it's pretty underrated. People are not talking about dianthus very much, and I actually find it to be a really beautiful, warm floral scent that adds a lot of depth to all the compositions that it's included in. So I'm really excited to see how well it can work in this future fragrance. And now we're on to heliotrope. This is the one that I drove to New Hampshire for, essentially. So heliotrope is almondy, it's cherry, it's powdery, it's almost vanilla, but not quite. It's one of those smells that people recognize, but they couldn't name in 100 years. It's also a huge part of classic perfumery, and it's almost disappeared entirely from modern fragrances. To me, it's one of the most beautiful scented flowers that I've ever encountered, and so I had to include it. Running into heliotrope in New Hampshire was pure happenstance, but it's always been one of my favorite notes, and I'm so excited to use it. I've quickly learned that this project is essentially me having a plan for what I want to do and then dealing with what is actually available to me for this time of year and for my geography. And I think when you're making fragrances, you have to take into consideration a lot of these constraints. And especially when you're dealing with natural materials like these plants, you can have an idea, but it's really going to be shaped by the nature and the nature around you and your environment. Now, this is what I think is the most interesting part of this whole project. Not every plant gets treated the same way once it leaves the balcony. There are basically 4 ways that perfumers pull scent out of raw plant, and they range from pretty simple to very, very not simple. The first in these processes is alcohol tincture. This is genuinely the easiest method there is. You take the plant material, you submerge it in a high-proof alcohol, and then you wait. For days, for weeks, you just let time do its thing. The alcohol slowly pulls the scent out of the material without any special equipment or heat needed, just patience. And it's not the most concentrated result, but it's the most accessible. And it's actually a great way for me to get started experimenting with this and to use these plants at home without any new materials needed. The second is steam distillation. You use heat and steam to separate the oil out. Lavender loves this one. It's one of the more forgiving plants to distill, which is part of why lavender oil is everywhere and it's so affordable. It's a low to moderate difficulty with a wonderful and very useful result. Now, the third is solvent extraction, and that gets you a concrete and eventually what we call an absolute in perfumery. That's more labor and more equipment needed. This is what you need for something like a dianthus, ideally. And it's moderate difficulty. It's doable, but it's not exactly like a backyard or a rooftop balcony perfumery type project, so I probably won't be doing that one. And fourth, we have probably the hardest one in my opinion, and that's enfleurage. This is an old school method of pressing flower petals into fat over and over again for days until the fat absorbs the scent. So this is the traditional path for anything like jasmine that we have. Jasmine Absolute is one of the most expensive raw materials out there because it uses a lot of plant material to get that absolute, and that can be both economically and physically very demanding. But for these delicate flowers that don't handle evaporation or high temperatures, this is the ideal method to use. It's just high difficulty and high cost, but you get a very high reward. I'm thinking I might actually try this method out just to get an idea of how it works. Some of my more delicate flowers like the lemon verbena, the jasmine, even the heliotrope might benefit from a treatment like this. So let's talk a little bit more about heliotrope while we're at it. That's the plant that I drove to New Hampshire for, and it's the plant that I actually want to try extracting myself. But there's a bit of a catch with this. Most of what's labeled heliotrope in perfumery is actually a synthetic, and that is because extracting scent from heliotrope is notoriously difficult. Which means when I try this, it'll maybe be a tincture first, maybe enfleurage, but there's a real chance it doesn't work. But that's what this is all about. I'm really trying to experiment and see what works, see what scent I can actually extract so that I'm learning this process and I get a better understanding for all of the materials that go into a fragrance. In doing this project, I'm not just trying to grow plants, I'm trying to learn exactly what they are, how they operate before I put them in a bottle. So I'm definitely gonna have my hands full with this project. This is a northwest facing balcony in New York City, so I get limited light, brutal summer heat on some days, and I don't know if all 5 of these are gonna make it to the end, but I am going to try my best to have that happen. That's kind of the point in documenting all of this. I'm gonna give you the good, the bad, and the ugly so that we can end up with a final fragrance made from the plants grown on that balcony. I'll be back in a few weeks with the first growth update. Subscribe if you want to see whether a perfumer can actually keep these plants alive and whether I can actually extract any scent from the heliotrope. Thank you all so much for tuning into this video, and I can't wait to give you an update in the coming weeks. Oh wait, and if you're curious about any of my scents, you can check them all out on our website, www.maxandmace.com. There I have my debut collection as well as all the fragrances that I'll make on this balcony and any future fragrances. So I really encourage you to check it out. Anyway, thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.